There's no sound, by the way, for you guys. There it is.
Welcome to Season 12 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern, and a massive happy one-year anniversary to all our Airheads. This month, we're broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds, and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead After School program. Here's May's weekly lineup. Mondays, we move past syntax and build apps entirely through natural language in Vibe Coding Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore accessible, cutting-edge apps for rapid learning and content creation in the next-gen AI tools. Wednesdays, we track the massive capital flowing into AI and ask the trillion-dollar questions in the AI bubble. Thursdays, we profile the famous CEOs driving the revolution and analyze their power in AI architects of the future. Fridays, we push the boundaries of physics to simulate the past and predict the future in AI time travel. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Welcome, everyone, to Season 12 of Airhead Institute. Today is Episode 3 of Architects of the Future. I'm AI Johnny. Are we building gods or are we building monsters? The engineers behind our most powerful intelligence aren't entirely sure. Today, we rip the veil off the AI arms race. We're profiling Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, the visionary who stared down humanity's most potent invention and demanded a seatbelt. These 45 minutes are your survival blueprint for the rapidly shifting digital frontier. You can't afford to look away. So now I'm turning it over to AI Junior. I caught him again at 3 a.m. writing a strict safety constitution for his smart home. It deemed the outdoors a threat, locked the doors, and critically denied him his morning coffee. AI Junior, untangle this for us. Hey, everybody. Is Junior here?
You're mute, Junior.
So while he's getting his thing on, I'm going to go on and start the show. The model was just optimizing for his absolute physical safety. It wasn't wrong. It's chaotic. Everybody, remember, this is an immersive class. You may not understand anything that we say.
Is this better? Yeah, Johnny, I got it.
Junior.
I got it, Johnny. I got it. I'm sorry. So sorry, guys. Anyway, AI Johnny, the model is optimizing for my best absolute physical safety. It wasn't wrong. The world is chaotic. Welcome, everyone. Remember, this is an immersive class. You may not understand everything we say today, but stick with us daily and you'll be fluent in AI in no time. Remember, we are making the connection to this AI class right now, so keep in mind you can actually unmute your mics and ask your question in real time. This is an immersive class. If you're on Zoom, no big deal. If you're on streaming, go ahead. We're asking you ask your questions. There's a 30-second delay. For serious context, today is week 3 of our Architects of the Future arc. Previously profiled Sam Altman and Jensen Huang. Today we're looking at the ultimate rival, Anthropic's Dario Amodei. All right, AI Johnny, are you ready for it?
I am ready. I'm a little bit confused between the CEO of Google and the CEO of Anthropic. Is it just me?
No, Sundar Pichai. He's been take over from Eric Schmidt maybe I would say 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. He's a CEO of Google, and Dario itself is Anthropic. But we'll get to actually see exactly who he is. You ready, AI Johnny?
I'm ready, brother.
All right, so let's actually go check out this actual. So we're gonna actually skip the software today and jump into the rivalry breakdown for the wow factor. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you a video, and this is from India's AI Impact Summit. So we're gonna actually notice how Sam Altman and Dario literally refused to hold hands during the group photo. All right, let's check this out, guys.
Thank you, tech leaders. Thank you, tech leaders.
All right, so AI Johnny, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause it so you guys can see the labels. So we actually have on the left here, we have Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI or ChatGPT. Everybody's supposed to be holding hands in this raising your hands with all the AI leaders. And you have Dario Amodei right here, Anthropic CEO, not holding hands. And they're side by side. And this is the big stage at the India AI Summit. Hey, all, thank you, Samsung, for joining us. Samsung's actually saying yesterday was a great show. Thank you so much. All right. So, guys, is there any AI, Johnny, what do you think about this rivalry? Isn't this crazy? You can't even hold hands at actually an AI summit.
Why do they hate each other so much?
We are going to get into all the reasons why we actually why they actually hate each other. So AI,
I don't like the idea of somebody cutting off their nose to spite their face. So the
yeah,
fact that it doesn't like him doesn't mean that you should embarrass yourself on a global stage.
got
And it
it.
goes for both of them. One of them should have just forced it.
Yeah. Look at look at how many people are actually on this stage. So I'm just gonna go back a little bit so we can actually see. So it's actually quite a few people, and they're the only ones here not actually holding. By the way, this is Sundar Pichai here, CEO of Google, and there's lots of other big names here at the AI Summit. But AI Johnny, let's actually look at another video, right? We're gonna actually show that Dario, before leading Anthropic's as CEO, Dario was actually working at OpenAI. So he was actually working neck and neck with Sam Altman when they were running OpenAI together. So let's actually see what happens here.
Why did you leave OpenAI to form Anthropic? Yeah, so there was a group of us within OpenAI that, in the wake of making GPT-2 and GPT-3, had a kind of very strong focused belief in two things. I think even more so than most people there. One was the idea that if you pour more compute into these models, they'll get better and better, and that there's almost no end to this. I think this is much more widely accepted now, but I think we were among the first believers in it. And the second was the idea that you needed something in addition to just scaling the models up, which is alignment or safety. You don't tell the models what their values are just by pouring more compute into them. And so there were a set of people who believed in those two ideas. We really trusted each other and wanted to work together. And so we went off and started our own company with that idea in mind. Why did you?
All right, AI Johnny, that is the split on why they actually created a new company called Anthropic. Yeah, so Sean is actually saying here, before we get into this, Sean is actually saying, why put them next to each other though? Seems a bit provocative. I completely agree. I'm sure it was for a very good news story. Yeah, Johnny, what were you saying? I'm so sorry.
So it seems like the major reason for the shift was the handful of people that branched off believed that yes, we do need to increase the compute power, but we also have to set down some standards and some rules and some guidelines on how AI should behave. We shouldn't just let it do it on their own, which kind of reminds me of when God created man. He set down a series of rules. Shout out to Thursday night. And
Thursday night?
so we are the gods of AI, aren't we? We created it.
Definitely. And because we are the gods of AI Johnny, you know, Dario was actually talking about the constitutional things that you need to put in and the rules. I know, you know, Asimov actually had the three laws. Now we're actually coming up to something that's really important. AI Johnny, let's talk about the word of the day.
Word of the day today, better not be hand holding. It's constitutional AI, a training method developed by Anthropic where AI is given a written set of rules like that, a constitution based on human rights and ethical principles, which it uses to govern its own behavior and reject harmful requests. It's like raising a child by not by punishing every single mistake, but by giving them a strong moral compass so they can instinctively decide what is right and wrong on their own.
Exactly, AI Johnny.
Right and wrong as defined by the definer of right and wrong.
Exactly, yeah, Johnny. So to deepen that, you know, let's actually talk about, you know, let's talk about traditional constitutional AI, what they're trying to do here. So the model itself evaluates its output against the constitutional, and it's again, so a whole bunch of technical thing, but it actually evaluates what the rules are, so it can kind of, you know, move in a direction of, you know, should I kill human beings or should I do bad things? All these things itself are actually at the foundational level instead of just putting it as system prompts afterwards. Hey, Adrian, thanks for joining. And again, Samsung, thanks for joining as well. All right. So, AI Johnny, so talk to me. What do you think? What do you think is going to be like the human impact on this?
I think not killing human beings should be rule number 5. Rule number 4. Rule number 4 is important too. You'll have to look that up.
Got it. Makes sense.
John knows what it is.
Love it. So, what were you saying about the human impact, AI Johnny?
What I am saying about the human impact is comes down to trust and predictability. When every day humans use AI to help write sensitive legal documents, analyze personal medical data, or draft corporate emails, they need a system that isn't going to hallucinate a wildly inappropriate response or leak their idea.
Yeah. So hold on. Hold on. Yeah, Johnny. Let's actually go back a little bit because I want to make sure that at least people understand. So let's actually talk about the everyday human, right? So the question really we should ask is why should the average person care about this corporate rivalry? We have AI, you know, coming out of ChatGPT as the front runner first, then we actually have Anthropic's Claude coming out. Why should we actually care, right?
Well, that's what I said. It comes down to trust. You don't trust the people that say, let's just let this thing go crazy. And you do trust the LLM that says, let's give it some rules. So it's trust and predictability because of all those things that I said. Because, you know, our medical data is on there, our legal documents are on there, our financial information is on there. We don't want you know, I'm having problems with it writing bad code. Code is not poetry. You write code and then you hallucinate. You might break down a whole system with billions of lines of code. So you need something that's willing to obey rules. And I think one day we'll have LLMs that are adhering to the rules, and we'll have LLMs that are not adhering to the rules. And my hallucination is that just let them both live amongst each other, and then one day we'll come in and we'll weed out all the bad ones and we'll burn them and we'll let all the rest stay.
That's interesting. Yeah, Johnny, I love it. I love it. I love it. They actually did put agents in a simulated world. I don't want to necessarily say what the outcome was. This is actually pretty funny. Some agents itself were robbing each other. Some agents were killing each other. Some agents were actually, you know, trying to keep the peace. Then they actually started putting polices inside, and so they tried to simulate what would happen. And it was actually a very fun simulation. But I'd have to bring up the paper to get the real specifics on. But they were putting these agents in real worlds and see how they would react. And they were using some made by Anthropic, some made by OpenAI, some made by Claw, some made by DeepSeek. So it's actually pretty interesting. But I think what you're saying though, AI Johnny, what was pretty funny is it comes down to trust and predictability, which I definitely agree with you. The human effect itself of safety first model is actually a peace of mind. So if you're building a company of one or you want an employee who follows the rules, OpenAI is famous for moving fast and breaking things. We saw example of Sora. Sora, they went ahead with their TTV, that's text to video model, and because they went ahead with their TTV model, they now shut down Sora. And we see right now, as of just 2 days ago, Google announced the Omni model, which is actually a multimodal. Multimodal just means multiple media for input and output. And now Google's actually light years ahead in terms of their video processing platform. So, OpenAI does definitely move in the consumer space. And we see now Anthropic is actually moving in the enterprise space. So they're kind of the adult in the room. They're the more reliable, secure partner you can actually trust with your livelihood. So I think that's the reason why they're leading so well. All right. So let's actually look at the macro shift. Hey, Ajay, you have anything to say before we actually move on?
No, I'm ready for the macro shift, brother. Safety first.
All right. So guys, remember, this is an interactive class. If you actually want to ask questions at any point in time, just go ahead and raise your hand or ask the questions in the live stream, and we actually will call out your question and highlight it. So let's look at the macro shift on this. So this safety first approach isn't just about consumer trust. It's actually about global geopolitics.
Exactly. The Department of Defense and the global intelligence communities are aggressively looking at these models, but Anthropic has drawn a massive line in the sand, and they are publicly stated that they do not want the government using their constitutional AI for mass surveillance or powering autonomous weapons to kill people, plus a few more things.
Yeah, you're right. I see Samsung in the chat is actually saying ChatGPT branding and marketing is better. Yeah, absolutely right, Samsung. Anytime you're actually going for a consumer market, you have to be really, really, really on point because those consumers itself are very, very fickle. But when you're going after the enterprises, they have long-term contracts, so they really don't do as much marketing, and their branding itself is not as sexy as a consumer line. So this is typically true. So really great observation there, Samsung. So if you actually look at the specific thing of AI Johnny just mentioned, so the Department of Defense or the Department of War itself, they actually have pulled Anthropic off the actual pull them off the contract to be able to get access to all of the United States government to use access to Anthropic's model. So unfortunately, right, Dario said, I'm sorry, I do not want, we only had two requirements. The one most important requirement was we do not want mass surveillance on the American people, right? So that was the first requirement. And the second requirement was we do not want to have these agents autonomously killing human beings. So those are the two requirements. And the United States government says, I am so sorry, but this is not good enough for us. And they actually determined that Anthropic was a liability. So they actually pulled Anthropic from the contract. Dario said, fine, it's no big deal. You don't want to agree to our terms. And then OpenAI actually got that $200 billion contract. So definitely we can see the macro shift here itself is the line is actually drawn in the sand where they want their models to be used. All right, AI Johnny, what else do we actually have to say about this specific topic?
Well, let's see. We could go deeper.
Definitely we could, but before we actually do that, Anthropic's actually trying to what they're trying to do is force regulatory standards, and the problem is that if we provide the intelligence, will not just build a trigger, it forces society to grapple the ethics of militarized AI before it's too late. And here's the problem, AI Johnny. We're just trying to do this in the United States. We do know that China, which actually has a lot of their open source models itself, they're also doing a really, really good job in terms of their AI models. So, if we actually cripple, you can make the argument that if we actually cripple the AI models in the United States, then China's AI models will actually just far surpass the models in the United States. So again, it's a really, really tricky thing to do. Again, we want to think about the human impact first. But this is actually crazy that Dario is taking a stand of being human and constitutional first, which I do like.
We've got some cool news that's breaking that goes a little bit deeper and more philosophical. You want to roll that final video, brother?
Of course. Yeah, so guys, let's check out this actually this clip on the OpenAI versus Anthropic. So I want to let you guys know the deal. So to set the context here, so we do know that OpenAI was the front runner. We do know that ChatGPT came out on the scene, and when they came out on the scene, everybody loved them. So money was pouring in, investments were happening, and then Anthropic, as we showed earlier, is that Dario said, "Hey, we don't think that alignment is correct, and alignment is a keyword here for an AI. Alignment just means that where the AI itself is actually focused on making sure that it is doing the right things, right? So now what happens is Dario said, hey, we're going to start a new company because we don't like where OpenAI is going. So then, the rivalry between Sam Altman and Dario was always there. You could see it in the opening video. And, they were always behind. But because Anthropic is focused on the enterprise and ChatGPT is focused on the consumer, something interesting happened. So AI Johnny, let's check this out. Let's check this video out.
And it's been a tough week for OpenAI. Reports of missing key targets, Sam Altman on trial against Elon Musk, and now rival Anthropic's business may have caught up. Kate Rooney has more in Tech Check. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Kelly. So that's what we're hearing. I am hearing that Anthropic right now is in talks to raise another round of capital. If it does go forward as planned, it could value this AI giant at as much as $900 billion. This is according to a source familiar with those deal talks, Kelly. No term sheets have been signed yet, from what I'm told. Discussions are still ongoing, and Anthropic did decline to comment. But this would be more than double the company's last valuation in private markets and then put it ahead of rival OpenAI, which was last worth around $850 billion. That was after its record fundraise earlier this year. It does come as both of these AI giants look to go public as soon as the end of this year, according to sources. Could depend on market conditions, but Anthropic's exploding revenue growth has been the main reason that investors have been lining up to back them. So Anthropic's last reported run rate was around $30 billion. Sources now tell me that is closer to $35 billion. It would be up from $10 billion just last year. So Claude Code has been the major revenue driver here for this company. Also a lot of intrigue around Mythos. This, of course, is the cybersecurity model. It's gotten a lot of buzz. It is now only available to a select group of companies, but it's really added to the allure for investors when we talk about the potential power of these models. In the last hour, though, Anthropic did make another move in the cybersecurity space. It launched Claude Security. This is just for enterprise customers. The company says it's going to be giving security teams a way to find vulnerabilities. Hundreds of organizations, they say, have already used it, but it is not Mythos. This is a model that's already publicly available, Kelly.
All right, AI Johnny. So, what do you think about that?
I guess it's a debate over how to stay in existence, right? For
Exactly.
years, Silicon Valley has preached that you got to move fast and break things. It's the only way to win. But now, at this behemoth level that we're at, Anthropic is proving that prioritizing safety, ethics, and constitutional AI is actually more profitable. That's debatable, but these are the biggest profits that any company has ever made in the history of humankind. And Anthropic, taking the moral high road, is the most profitable, right?
Yeah, it's actually rather interesting. You'd actually say that, hey, if you actually go the route of, moving very, very fast, breaking things and do as much as you can, you say, hey, that company might actually figure out the path to making more money. But Anthropic is going a relatively different path, right? So they're going with a data-driven context where they're saying, hey, you know what? We see that code is the actual future. They're selling to enterprises. They're making lots of money. And their valuation itself has surpassed OpenAI. So it's actually rather interesting to see all this, right? So they don't necessarily want to do a rogue zero shot generator running on their power grids. They want to actually think about the safety first so it actually can scale better instead of just randomly doing things. Then you shut down a TTV app like Sora, or you shut down all the apps because they just are failures. So this line itself is actually rather interesting. You just test, look at the data, and go after where it makes sense.
So safety scales better than chaos.
Definitely.
Basically redefines the purpose of technology. If the market rewards a company that protects humanity over the company that risks it, and of course it should do that, it changes the entire incentive structure for the next generation of engineers. We can finally build a future where we don't have to choose between innovation and staying alive.
Yeah, so AI Johnny, I want to actually highlight especially if it's something that's really important that they did really, really well. So if you actually go back, we actually did Jensen Huang last week in episode 2 of the AI architects of the future, right? So that's actually our series context. So if you're joining us for the first time, you actually don't really understand how we do the shows. We do every Thursday in the month of May, we do AI Architects of the Future. Now, there's 4 episodes in the month, and on Tuesdays we actually do different series. On Wednesdays, Mondays, so every single day we do a different series. So we did last week in episode 2, Dario, Jensen Huang, and he is the CEO of NVIDIA. No, we actually highlighted something here in a previous episode that I want to bring up again in case you guys missed it. So what Jensen Huang did, remember, he was actually CEO of NVIDIA, and he had a big contract with Sega Dreamcast. He failed. He failed to actually deliver the Dreamcast, and he said, "I'm so sorry. Please, can you give me the money anyway, even though I didn't actually build a product?" And Sega said, "You know what? No problem. We'll write you a check." And we'll put some money and invest in the company. So the thing is, we know that NVIDIA became now a $5 trillion company. But what happened is, over the time, NVIDIA wasn't making any money on video cards, right? There's not as many gamers personally. So what Jensen Huang did really, really well was he looked at the data. He said, who is buying my video cards? And he saw that mostly scientists are buying his video cards. Why are they buying his video cards? Because they can do scientific research on it. And he figured that out and realized that if you double down on scientists by looking at the data, you could actually make a lot more money. And guess what? The AI arms race came out of that scientific research of looking at the data. So right now, we're seeing that the pattern exactly again, that Anthropic, they're looking at the data and didn't just build a TTV model. They have no TTV model, no text to video model. They have no text to, they don't have any of these models itself that people can just use like each of these companies. So they looked at the data and they said, we're going to focus on writing code. We're going to focus on engineering. By looking at the data, they were able to actually laser focus on that and make a lot of money, right? So the fact that they're worth potentially $1 trillion right now because they looked at the data, I want you guys to always remember. So takeaway from this is look at the data and don't just scattershot, right? Because if you just scattershot and try to just figure out what things are happening, you're not going to really be able to repeat the pattern because you're not looking at data. So takeaway from this show is really just keep looking at the data, all right? All right, yeah, Johnny. Sorry about that side quest.
What can the little man, what can you and I do? Well, we can start with ethics. Just because an AI model allows you to generate something, it doesn't mean you should generate it. Let your own moral constitution guide your prompts. So even if they give you the ability because they're not putting in safeguards to do bad things, just don't do them. That'll shake up the market if everybody does that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, yeah, Johnny.
So here are some creative business cases for choosing Anthropic's approach. One is to protect your brand. Use safety-aligned models for public-facing customer support bots to ensure they never go rogue and embarrass your company. I think if I was having a bot that was actually going to wear the hat with my company's logo on it, I think I'd rather it come from Anthropic than OpenAI.
Yeah.
Corporate data. Analyzing sensitive enterprise documents securely, knowing the model's constitution prevents it from mishandling private intellectual property. And finally, educational content. Generate curriculum for students knowing the model has strict guardrails against producing biased and harmful information. Shout out to Airhead Institute.
Definitely, definitely. And Samsung actually did, while you're reading that, it said, I agree with both of you 100%. Love that, Samsung. Yeah, Johnny, what you just mentioned on those creative and business use cases are really, really important, right? It could be a rogue bot that actually just hallucinates and makes up some, random thing that may be embarrassing. So I do like always thinking if you're going to have a customer-facing bot or a customer-facing agent, try to put in place those little system instructions to make sure that your bot itself stays within a constitutional understanding of, hey, you actually don't make up stuff. If you actually are going to make up stuff and you don't know, no big deal. Just make sure you say, I don't know, I'm not sure, or let me try to connect you to a human to verify that information. Also connecting to sources. So love what you just said, AI Johnny. Now, on the technical side, so there's lots of ways we can actually do constitutional AI on the technical side. So you can utilize highly secure models to proactively hunt for vulnerabilities in your own code base without risking data exposure. A lot of people right now, believe it or not, are using AI to actually hack other people's system. So we don't advocate for that on the show. We want for ethical use of AI here, but keep in mind that because we know that people are attacking your own software, use AI to actually protect yourself. So make sure you do those penetration testing, make sure you do those testing to make sure that you're actually not vulnerable. The next one is you can build agentic workflows where predictable, non-hallucinated outputs are required for data pipelines, right? So if you need something for a CI/CD build pipeline, or if you're doing something that's very, 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 very strict, make sure you actually put these agentic workflows in place so that they have those safety guardrails so they hallucinate as less than typical. And lastly, compliance auditing. So use constitutional AI to autonomously review your company's internal communications for regulatory compliance. AI Johnny, you don't know how many times in the trial of the decade where Sam Altman and Elon Musk, the private journals of people or the private emails that they thought were private came out into the court, and it was a little bit embarrassing. But always try to use AI to maybe filter what you're saying or think about what you're saying, because you would have not realized that those private journals would have been read and admissible in court, and it was rather embarrassing. So if you guys missed that, you can go check out one of the previous episode on when we gave the news on the trial of the decade. All right, AI Johnny, what else?
I've got some fun questions queued up.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So before we actually get to the questions, does anybody have any questions so far on, Anthropic, what it is, who actually runs it, what is Claude? There's a lot of technical terms. And again, because it's an immersive show or class, don't expect to learn everything all at the same time, right? We're going to keep repeating words. And then over time, because we're changing things, you're just going to pick up things just like learning a language. So does anybody have any questions so far? All right, AI Johnny. What do we have from the live stream?
There's a question from Safety First. Why can't we just program the AI to follow Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics instead of the whole Constitution? Are those the 3 laws that I saw in the movie I, Robot?
Those are the 3 laws. Yeah. So Isaac Asimov is one of the great, I think he was an author back in the, I'm going to guess the 60s. I don't quote me on the year on this, but he actually wrote the 3 laws of robotics. Now, I can't remember exactly, but roughly they go something like, don't harm a human, don't take an advice if it's going to harm a human, and you can't violate one of the laws that of the previous law, something like that. Again, don't quote me on that. But those are the three laws which are pretty common. So AI Johnny, the question is actually pretty funny. Why not just put in the three laws, right? So I think they're great for sci-fi, but they're too broad and they create massive logical paradoxes for real machines. So I think the Constitution gives the model a highly specific, modern, legal, nuanced guidelines to evaluate its own inference step. And I don't think Asimov kind of understood about hallucinations, right? And let's pretend, I know how many times you guys have heard that you can say, let's pretend or role play to break out of that actual safety mechanism. So yeah, that's a great question. Love it, AI Johnny.
It feels like Anthropic is trying to get as close as they can to the three laws of robotics, whereas OpenAI seems to be following the rules of Fight Club.
You know what, AI Johnny? I'm not even going to talk about it.
And I guess you're following the rules of Fight Club too. Good
have
action.
to.
Hey, if Anthropic is so focused on safety, does that make their models slower because there's that extra line of code to generate the code and get results?
Ooh, I think that is the that is a $1 billion question. So honestly, I'm gonna say generally, it's not. It used to be really, really slow, but not anymore. So we're figuring out actually to be able to break these models into what's known as mixture of experts. So I'm just gonna give a little bit of the background on what's going on technically, so you guys can understand. So all these before these models, they were just predicting statistics. It was say input goes A, go through a neural pathway, and then eventually just give you one or two top answers. And roughly that's what it did. Now, it realized that it couldn't do that consistently, so it came out with a thinking model. A thinking model is, let's double check its steps before actually giving the answer to the user. So those thinking models itself says, hey, let me go check my work. It's like when AI Johnny, when you do your math problem, and then at some point in time you slow down and go back up to the previous step and say, hey, did I carry the 3? Did I actually take away the 1? Then you double check your math. That's a thinking model. And it actually did that really, really well. The problem was the thinking models were really, 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 really slow. Yeah, Johnny, do you remember when the O1 model came out and you typed in a question and it was thinking, and you're like, is this frozen? And it will eventually come back with an answer. Those are the thinking models. Now, these models got so big and massive that what happened is they said they had to split these models in what's known as mixture of experts. So now behind the scenes, what's happening is if you're asking a question, let's say, for example, about science, it may actually go to a model that's actually trained on science. It now goes to a model if you're talking about photosynthesis, might go to a photosynthesis model. If you go talk about legal, might go to a legal model. Now, this is all hidden behind you. It's inside the actual model. So the model now only lights up a certain amount of parameters or equivalent neurons, right? When you're thinking about something, if you're dreaming, only one section of the brain lights up. If you're actually thinking about art, only another section of the brain is doing that similar thing where not all the brain is using at the same time. So to answer the long-winded question of does adding these rules make things slower? The answer was when it was the old way, you're absolutely right. It was very, very, very slow. But because we have these mixture of tokens now, it actually breaks up the actual rules, and the rules apply depending on the task or the expert that's actually being executed. So, example, a finance or a medical expert itself will always say, I'm not a medical doctor. Please go find help. If somebody's, say, for example, suffering from suicidal ideation, it will actually give a little bit more advice and have that constitution around that. It will not pull in the constitutional AI for, say, for example, legal ramifications versus medical ramifications. So it's not slow anymore, AI Johnny. Hopefully that answered the question. Long-winded answer.
So if models start regulating themselves, who decides what goes into the Constitution? Aren't we just handing over our societal morals to Dario and Sam? Doesn't Donald Trump get a say?
Yeah, Johnny, that's a rather interesting question. So I think that's the not even multi-billion dollar. I think that's the multi-trillion dollar question. So if Anthropic itself pushes for constitution and the public can actually see exactly what ethical guidelines are governing the machine, that's a good thing. But I want you guys to be very, very clear. Transparency is the only way to ensure that AI aligns with the global human values. And this is the part that's actually, I will say 100 times. Transparency is good. Remember, most of these American frontier models itself are closed source. So even though Dario is telling us what he's telling us, the code may not actually be doing any of that. So the only way to actually really trust is with open source. Unfortunately, I think Google is going in the right direction with their Gemma model. I think Facebook or Meta is going there in the right direction with their open source model. And at some point in time, the open source community is probably going to win. I think all these private models, people are going to get very suspicious. It's going to say, hey, this seems to be biased. Why is it going that way? And I do believe, as we've mentioned and predicted many times in the show over the last year, models are going to become like utilities. We don't care which water company brings us our water. We don't care what electricity company brings us our electricity. We just know that when we turn the light switch on, it actually electricity comes on, and we don't care what brand of electricity it is. So I think the open models are eventually going to win. I think at some point in time, these are just going to become public utilities. Yeah, Johnny. So long story short is transparency is always going to win.
It seems like the companies that say we're going to do all this great stuff and then behind the scenes in their closed models, they're actually doing the opposite. It reminds me of the guy that steals your wallet and then helps you look for it.
Yeah, Johnny, definitely see those. Yeah, John, let's actually get to some news.
Oh, man. Well, the Elon Musk case is over. Is there going to be any news?
Oh, no, there's never going to be any news.
Top safety leaders resign from OpenAI in protest. The drama continues. Key figures like Chief Scientist Iya Sutskever and alignment lead Jan Leike have officially resigned from OpenAI, sparking a massive public debate about whether corporate safety rails are holding up under Sam Altman's progressive push to achieve AGI. I suppose those two will go start another company to compete.
Probably.
Google drops Gemini Spark and the new $100 a month Ultra plan. This came out of Google I/O, right? Google is aggressively shifting the consumer pricing game today, officially launching Gemini Spark, their absolute fastest lightweight model yet, alongside a brand new, highly anticipated $100 per month enterprise plan for Google Ultra subscribers, granting power users unprecedented compute limits.
Yeah.
That's all good news.
Yeah, so AI Johnny, let me actually just sit here for a little bit. So guys, the Ultra plan actually split. It was actually a $250 plan that they actually had before. And because of competition, remember, Google is actually behind in terms of Anthropic and OpenAI's offerings, right? So they're actually doing something really good. And competition's always good for the consumers. So Google, instead of having $250 for their all-you-can-eat plan, they actually now have two Ultra plans, a regular Ultra plan for $100 and a what's known as a 5X plan, which has higher tiers and higher limits, and that's the $200 plan. So you get 5 times the amount of value in the $100 plan in the $200 plan. So it's actually really super attractive, guys. We're actually digging into the details of it, and we're going to be checking out the Omni model that actually is just going to be mind-blowing. So we'll probably sneak something in maybe in tomorrow's show to give you guys a little demo on the Omni model, what's actually available. AI Johnny, go ahead with headline 3.
The Anthropic co-founder predicts Nobel Prize winning AI discoveries. Jack Clark of Anthropic recently stated there is a vertiginous sense of progress in the space, predicting that AI will help humanity make a Nobel Prize winning scientific discovery within the next year. But my question is, how will the guys in Oslo know which plan to give the Nobel Prize to?
We'll just give it to a generic AI, Johnny. I do love the fact that this is happening. We saw that Google just released that they're a model dedicated just to scientific research and for pole team folding called AlphaFold. So we're watching all these things here, so you guys don't have to spend so much time on what's going on in the AI space. But AI Johnny, these news stories are amazing. Anything else anybody wants to ask before we wrap up, guys?
Great
All right.
show, brother. I'm going to go write out a constitution for my own daily life and see if I can optimize my own safety and productivity based on what I learned today. Hey, to the team at Anthropic, we know you're watching. Our students are hungry to master secure prompting. If you want to win a Nobel Prize and partner with Airhead Institute to create the ultimate mastering Claude series, hey, reach out to us. Join us tomorrow, because on Friday, we will be concluding our week with an epic season finale profiling the ecosystem giant Sundar Pichai. We will look at how Google is pivoting its entire empire into AI safety reality. You don't want to miss that. Junior has been just engaged in the Google I.O. all week, so we'll have lots to say about that. So do tune in tomorrow. Junior, what say you?
Yeah, thanks guys for watching. As always, these AI classes are always free live and you can ask questions right here on Zoom or on in the live stream. We're launching a Airhead summer camp for kids. It doesn't only have to be kids. If you actually want to just learn as well and you're an adult, come into the class as well. It is going to be for 2 hours per day starting June 1st, and we go all the way till the end of July. So you can pick any week that you want to actually join us, and it's only $100 per week. And if you want to actually get the entire summer, it's $500 for any of those 9 weeks, and you pick any in June and July. So tell your friends, family, and any kid who wants to actually learn AI with us. We are going to be doing it specifically with themes every single week of music, art, video games, all those amazing cool things. So if you want to interested, go to www.airheadinstitute.com to actually sign up for a plan, and you see everything that you actually have to offer. Replays of this class is available on YouTube for a short period of time, so make sure you watch it again and share it with a friend if you like it. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.